How does one stay relevant in today's world and age? Because you have all these new ways of telling a story, and with technology taking a giant bite into how you do things. How much is the technicality important over the actual storytelling?
I think actual storytelling is the main thing. I think we all my life. I think a lot of my movies, and I'll go back to. I've done these kind of stories. In fact, I had a grandmother that I always wanted to kill, and I used to think of how. The best way to tell stories, and I've done twisted. I've done even short stories. I had a series a long time ago called Panggung, which used to be on Astro, and they were all short stories. And I'm talking 2001 or something. I did it, or 2000, and they were 13 half hours I had, and they're all twisted. So I've always had, because I was Jeffrey Archer and Roald Dahl and all these other writers, twisted short tales are sometimes easier, How to Kill Your Grandmother, but obviously things have to go wrong because or I don't know what they've done, and I can imagine what it is. I'm still doing that stuff, and it's very hard for me to actually get them mainstream recognition. I did a movie called Sambuni, which I was so proud of in 2012. It's a fantasy horror, but it's got twist upon twist, and it didn't do well at the box office. And I started giving up hope. But recently, TikTok called me and told me, "Hey, we'd like you to come and be a mentor on something." I said, "Why?" And then I realized that my movie just got released on YouTube, and it had like 400 comments from TikTok users who were very proudly owning it, like, "Oh, I'm here first, and is anyone from FB here?" And I'm like, "What's going on here? Who are these people?" So you can find a new audience, and that's. Technically, it was okay. It's still a decent movie. It had a monster in a rubber suit, which is very embarrassing. But when these people who are watching it, because they're watching it free, they're watching it for the story content, and they love it. And it was also shot on 5D, 7D at that time. And this is just before we had the Reds and all that. I couldn't afford it, in fact. So I was shooting my movies and releasing it on 35mm. At that time, it was okay. It looked nice because. Look at what has happened since then. We've got 6K, 8K quality.
Yeah.
And your cameras are probably easy for me to bump up because it's digital. It's just how the presentation style. So with all that in mind, I think technically you can still always be relevant because there's so much you can see. But to tell a story is damn hard.